Mike with the Beetle and the Bug, and I just wanted to keep going on my list of top 25 things that I learned as just a regular guy doing do-it-yourself restoration of a Bug and this bus, but in doing so, just making a bunch of mistakes, like it's the first pancake and oddly shaped. And so this is number 16 through 20 of like things that I learned doing these projects. So number 16, I wanted to say, is in the wiring, and the wiring of the headlights especially. The basic gist here is that the headlights, which is this switch right here, and in the bus, I'll show you on the bus, but basically the wiring of these headlights down through here, the headlights are not, at least not on this 66, they're not run through the fuse box, at least that I could see on this bus. So you have this fuse box down here, and the headlights here were not run through that, and so my wiring was a little sketchy, and I actually had a short on my headlights, and it caused all the wires to just burn up. And I was driving at the time, and whoops, it made smoke come up through my this little front panel of the nose, and the smoke came out here, and I was like, what the hell's going on? Am I burning the engine or whatever? But apparently I just completely shorted out the wiring that went to the headlights. And so I just wanted to say something that I had learned is you have to be very careful on especially the wiring when it comes to the headlights, and don't short out or allow any of those wires to short out. So you may want to get the good connectors on the headlights when you're doing your headlight wiring. All right, the second one, headliner. So I did the headliner in the Beetle, and from about the middle up, it looks pretty good, right? Like here, I did the padding on this, and then with my straps, and then from there back it looks like shit, frankly. And I had trouble just getting it taut, even though I have the bows here, but I had trouble getting it taut. And then in the back I completely messed that up. But what I wanted to say is I got the thing called the one-piece easy headliner, and one-piece easy headliner means you don't get to put in a nice taut piece right around the back windshield, with the rest of it being a separate piece. And if I had this to do over again, first of all, I may not get just this perforated vinyl one. I might get like a actual fabric one, but those things were like $200 or $300 plus, maybe $400, and this one was fairly inexpensive. But I would definitely not get the one-piece easy headliner, because it's just hard. It's hard to get this area here just nice and taut. And granted, this is the first headliner I ever did, but I think that if you get the regular headliner with the piece around the back window, you get that nice and taut, and then you tuck in the rest of it kind of behind it. So I would definitely get the original style headliner and not the one-piece easy. And then as you're doing it, getting it taut is the trick, and not ripping it or anything like that is the trick. So I got some ruffles, some problems here, but headliner is a huge pain in the ass, and I have a feeling it's hard to do that really well on your first time anyway. All right, next is glue, rubber gloves, and your cuticles. So I used a lot of glue in various things, including refurbishing this fuel tank here, doing the headliner, doing various things with glue, and my suggestion here to save your fingers and your cuticles is just buy like 3 boxes of rubber gloves like this. The stuff that you use to refurbish a fuel tank, for example, the rust blaster and then the glue on the inside. It's like this combo of like super glue and like this weird like metallic stuff, and I got a little bit of that on my hands, and I really messed up my hands and cuticles probably at least 4 times doing various things with glue and not always diligently wearing rubber gloves. So I just wanted to say, you save yourself just a lot of things. Also like gasoline and even oil just getting in here right on your cuticles, and it just causes it to become like super painful, and I just don't learn very quickly, and just to always use rubber gloves. So that's suggestion number 18. Okay, suggestion number 19. While doing the chassis, brake lines, master cylinder, and I put in the master cylinder that was in there, and it wouldn't create any pressure. And then on the brake lines, I put in new brake lines, but I, running the long brake lines that you have to bend, and then I had to do some welding on the floor pans around it in order to get my accelerator pedal and those little clamp downs. And I just wanted to say that I wound up removing and replacing the master cylinder, and I wound up always draping over this leather welding thing here, because once you run those brake lines, if you have to weld anything, you have to be really, really careful not to damage the brake line and get a hole in it. And I had a couple of scares on that. And so I just wanted to say for number 19, if you have a kind of a slightly rusty master cylinder or whatever, just for safety purposes, replace your master cylinder. Best to get a German one, best to get a dual one, but if you can't, like I didn't put a dual in the Beetle, but I did put a dual in the bus. So, be very cautious with your brake lines and welding around it, and replace your master cylinder. That is, if you have an old one, that's my suggestion. And then the final thing that I learned on the, and this is on the engine that's in the Beetle, is when you're doing an engine and you're doing the cam plug, which is that little disc about this big that goes where the cam bearing is, make sure that you have a nice tight fit. If you're using a metal one, just slather just a ton of aviation Permatex or something like that. And even better than using the metal one, get one of the rubber tight fit cam plugs to put in there, because, and I'll tell you why, I had dripping oil for the longest time coming out of this motor, and I didn't know what it was. I thought, it might be coming through, where the clutch is and getting in the clutch plate. It could be a cracked case. I just didn't know what it was. Turns out it's the cam plug. And when I took the thing out and I redid it, the one that I used the rubber cam plug on, which is the 2332 here, is great. Doesn't leak. The one that I used the metal cam plug on, and I did put Permatex on there, but it didn't matter. It was leaking oil. And so what I wound up doing, because I didn't want to take apart the entire motor again, is I wound up putting JB weld on it, and there's a video on putting JB weld on your cam plug, but it is such a hacky fix. And so I would just suggest that if you're building an engine, get one of those rubberized cam plugs, again, a little disc like this, to make sure you have a nice tight fit when you seal the case, and you don't have a mysterious oil leak. And that oil leak can also be exacerbated if you don't put a good breather kit on your motor where you equalize the pressure. What'll happen is it'll just ooze out of your cam plug, and you'll wonder what the hell's going on with your oil leak dripping from under your Beetle or your bus. So anyway, those are learnings 16 through 20 Yeah, and I just jotted down a list of 25 things where I was like, oh man, that was a huge pain in the ass that I've done on this Beetle and in the bus. And so I was just going through to just explain it. If you're a regular dude just trying to do one of these projects, and I highly recommend it because it's very rewarding. The car is fantastic, but you just wind up with these pitfalls. So anyway, I will do another video with 21 through 25 and talk to you guys soon.